I saved a dumbass kid's life from a dangerous horse. And now his Karen mom is furious. I might be banned from the stable. Am I the asshole?
Let children die.
They always say save the children, but I ask, why? I, 25 female, work in a stable. On Saturday mornings, we have beginner groups for kids. Them and their parents gather for 1.5 hours every Saturday. When the kids have their first lesson, I teach them the first 3 rules that must be followed at all times. 1, no running in the stables around the horses. 2, no screaming in the stables. 3, never walk up/stand behind a horse. The new group had their 3rd lesson today. Usually the kiddos are really good at following the rules and listen to what I say. If they don't, their parents usually step up and get them to behave. But I have this one boy who's been a problem since day 1.
Oh, God.
He's loud, he runs, and he's very disruptive. After the first lesson, I pulled his mother aside and asked that she help him calm. And if he's not listening to me, it would be very helpful if she told him off. So the mom's like coming in to set things right.
Straight up.
Remember that girl that I was like hit on the beach, and then we went, and then she's gonna leave, and then
Yes.
she's here.
Oh my God.
The Australian girl.
She's here right now. Just go.
Okay,
Open the door. Dun, 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 dun. That's all you get, okay?
That's Ashley. Anyway, back to the story.
Back to the story.
I guess she didn't listen, as last week we had the same issues. This time I told him that if he didn't listen to me, he would not get to ride the horses. He threw a tantrum and she didn't help.
Oof.
Today, I was dreading teaching him, and I don't know if my patience is wearing thin or if he was worse than usual, but it was driving me crazy. At one point, he's bolting full speed ahead toward the horse facing away from him. Before he can get too close, I managed to grab his arm and pull him to a stop. I guess I grabbed him a little hard because he yelped like a little bitch boy.
Yeah.
His mother storms up to me and grabs her son and tells me not to touch him, and how dare I do this to him. I tell her he's a danger to himself and others, which totally, I mean, man's about to give himself more brain damage than he already has.
Big facts.
She disagrees and argues with me, and at this point, I'm fed up and tell her that if he dies in their stable because he scares a horse, it would be on her. She's furious and grabs her son and storms off. The other parents seem relieved about the fact that he's probably not coming back, but when I tell a friend about this, she calls me an effing psycho for saying that to a mom. Am I the asshole? And there's an update. But John, what do you think?
First off, it's multiple layers. There's the crazy kids that are like causing
Fuck
a
'em.
ruckus, endangering everyone else, including themselves.
Yep.
Wouldn't the mom rather their son be safe? Like, that is the real question here.
Not if she's stressed.
This kid needs to be stopped. The mom needs to be stopped.
Yeah.
Period.
Okay, let's get into this update.
Let's do it.
The Monday after it all went down, my boss/the manager of the stable got a call from the mom. She was furious, demanded her money back for the 3 lessons, etc., etc. I had explained everything to my boss before, so she told the mom that she wouldn't get her money back, as she had agreed to this when she signed up for her son's lessons.
There we go.
Good manager. She also told her that since her son was a danger not only to himself, but to others, he wasn't welcome back. Boom! The mom went batshit and yelled a bunch of obscenities before hanging up. A calm 2 weeks followed before shit hit the fan.
Uh-oh.
The first thing that happened was that we arrived to the stable in the morning to find all the ponies had gotten out of their pasture. The ponies are quote unquote free range. Basically, they are out 24/7, and somehow they had escaped and were thankfully just grazing up in the forest close to the stable. We thought that maybe a wild animal had gotten into the pasture and spooked them. A moose maybe. Whilst we usually don't have any wolves around there, they had been seen close, so that's not impossible. We checked the fence and fixed it, and all was well. Didn't think much about it until it escalated.
Of course.
One night, a couple of days later, I get a call that the outhouse the ponies usually sleep in was on fucking fire. Burning to the ground.
Oh my God.
It was so scary. Thankfully, they were not in the house when this happened, but someone wanted to hurt them. You can't see anything in the pasture at night, so you couldn't see that they were outside. That day, we bought cameras and notified the police, of course, but they couldn't do much. They told us it was probably some kids doing it. There have been fires set in dumpsters and a garden shed recently, so we installed the cameras and took turns staying in the stable at night. Nothing really happened for a week and a half, so we stopped staying there. A few days later, I arrived in the morning to find cuts on some of the horses. Someone had come to the stable and fucking hurt the horses. I called my colleagues and police, and when we watched the camera footage, there was a man seen entering and exiting the stable. Effing guess what? It was the husband of the crazy mom. The police arrested him, so hopefully they both get what's coming to them. It's been a crazy few weeks, and I'm quite tired, but I'm okay, and the horses are on their way okay to okay as well.
Oh my God. To go so far as to harm innocent animals is just like beyond
terrible.
comprehension.
Yeah. Fucking
Like,
awful.
how can you Ken and Karen that hard?
Yeah, the OP's so not in the wrong here. And also fucking crazy that the Karen just like tracked these horses down to like cause all this mischief.
Is your life really so shitty that you have to go and do this? Like,
get a life.
yeah, Karens.
And you know what gives me life?
What?
John's next story.
Yeah, it does. I just mistook a very big movie star for an extra in a movie, and I told him he can't eat anything on the set. Now I'm horrified. Am I the a-hole? So I used to work in film and TV production. I had just graduated college and finally got a shot to work as a production assistant on Spider-Man Homecoming.
Fucking love that movie, dude.
This was my first union run set. I didn't and I still don't care about Marvel Cinematic Universe movies, nor did I really follow who was acting in them at all. At this time, during the shoot, Tom Holland was pretty new to the role, and the only thing I think he was in that people had heard of was Civil War, which I hadn't seen. My boss told me that I had to watch the food spread for any extras coming in and direct them to a different food spread, as extras were not allowed to have the main spread. This may sound kind of rude to do, but this is pretty typical if you have a lot of extras because it would take too much time for everyone to get a plate and eat, so they divide it up.
Exactly. You're just not important enough to be fed.
Anyway, it was right before break, and my boss told me that I was waiting for the cast and crew to arrive so I could get my food and wait around. So I did. While getting food, I noticed a black Cadillac pulling up. This should have been my first clue. And a few people got out. Tom Holland being one of them.
Oh, shit.
Oh, sheesh. Again, I still didn't know who he was, so I thought maybe he was just an extra. Tom is a super nice kid. He came right up to me in line and started talking to me, asking how I was doing and all that. As we were making small talk, I interrupted him and I said, I don't mean to interrupt. By any chance, you wouldn't happen to be an extra, would you? His face looked really confused and it looked like he thought I was joking. And all he said was, no, I play Spider-Man?
Oh my God. So embarrassing for OP. How do you not know the main characters of the movie you're working on?
My stomach dropped. All I could think of in my head was my first big set, and I had mistaken the lead actor for an extra. I apologized to him and told him that I didn't know who was playing Spider-Man at all, nor did I ever watch any of the movies before.
That's even worse.
I feel like this is not helping at all. He laughed and said it was okay. I BS'd with him for a couple of minutes after until he had to go back to his trailer. I was happy that he took it as well as he did, and it was really cool to meet him too, but I was so incredibly embarrassed.
As you should be.
I should have told him that I was from another universe and our Spider-Man looked different, but no, then he'd probably just have called me a nerd. On big sets like this, typically what happens is that production changes the name of the film in case the film was called Summer of George. Okay.
Oh, so it's like you don't necessarily even know what the name of the film you're working on is.
Right. This is for anonymity among outsiders so we don't attract a crowd. This goes for the same thing with the cast names in the call sheet. It's usually abbreviated. When I got the call sheet the night before, all I had gotten was where and what time the PAs, production assistants, were supposed to be. I didn't even know it was going to be a Marvel movie until I signed my contract.
Oh, okay. So that feels like a little bit like OP gets, there's a little bit of a break.
But also, like, it's also Tom Holland.
It's also Tom Holland.
I don't know. Like, I feel like if you're going to be in the movie,
OP has been under a rock. If you're going to be in the movie industry, know the movies.
Know the most famous actor on the planet that is under 25 years old. Like,
yeah, come on.
Do that much.
Like, is that not your job?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's not technically your job, but well, no, it is. It's your job to know the actors.
It low key is.
Yeah.
It's like in
Get
the
your
subtext.
shit together, OP.
Yeah, that's right. But speaking of getting my shit together, I would love you to shit this next story all over me.
I would love that too, but can you tell me about those rings?
So we made these rings. This one is a garnet stone. We cut out the silver. So we picked our own designs. She picked this like garnet gem. You can't really see it. I'll just do my absolute best. Riley, what do I do? This, hold it in. Do your thing, editors. So zoom in on that. I made waves. So it's like,
oh, that's cute.
it was a great anniversary. So Thanks for asking.
You know what other third thing I'd like to get into?
Oh, God.
This third story.
Yes.
I just found out the guy that I hooked up with is in a relationship and cheating on his girlfriend. Don't worry, I'm going to gather evidence and tell her everything. Am I the asshole? For privacy reasons, I'm going to use other names in this wild ride of the past few months. I'm 23 female, was using Tinder, and I found this really cool guy, Riley. I'm just kidding, it's Chris. 23 male on there back in October. We both matched and the conversation was going well and it clicked well. We never decided to make it a relationship because we both wanted friends with benefits, which is what Riley wants to.
That's true.
We talk about other people we found on Tinder and even had another girl in the action before. I decided to do some snooping on Facebook and saw he was in a relationship with a girl named Lily, 24 female.
Of course.
I asked him about it and he said they broke up a month ago. He then changes his status to single. I thought nothing of it. Mistake number one. I actually think it's not a mistake. Who uses Facebook? A month goes by and I found this nice guy so great we decided to go exclusive, aka boyfriend and girlfriend.
Ooh.
I cut out my friends with benefits and stick to nice guy for a couple months. Cue Chris trying to constantly hit me up the past couple months. I told him no, that I have a boyfriend now.
Yeah.
He decided to leave me alone for a week before trying again. And then he's backed off for a month till out of bloody nowhere, he tries me up again a few days ago. So I go to his Facebook and behold, his relationship status has been changed to dating Lily again. But the weird thing is, the start date was back when they originally got together many months ago, which again, I think is normal. A lot of couples don't count when they if they broke up and got back together, they count from the start date.
It's just like weird because
I don't know if it's that weird. I hooked up with this girl who's now married and I was the guy in between. I was the break. Keep in mind, I thought they broke up and he even changed his relationship status when he and I were messing around. So I try messaging Lily on Facebook. I found her because she is linked in the relationship status post and I tried telling her about what's going on with Chris. She goes on about trusting him and she'll need proof if he's trying to get together with me. So my boyfriend and I come up with a plan. I decided to continue texting Chris and ask him if he'd like to meet up. He said yes.
Uh-oh.
That's proof enough for me.
Yeah.
I continue gathering proof to make sure it was a hookup. All signs point to yes. I tried showing the messages to Lily over Facebook and she said he'd never follow through with it. She trusts him. Lily. So the plan was set. I'd go over to his house that night and record everything that happened. Obviously no sex happened because all I wanted to do was get him to admit that he hasn't only been trying to hook up with me, but has also hooked up with other women during this entire time he's been together with Lily.
Wow, it's a sting.
Yeah, it's a sting operation. So after I get my evidence, I text Lily to come in. So it's like a Chris Hansen situation. Cue Chris being shocked. And then I walk out with my phone, which had the voice recording of everything that he said, admitting that he's been cheating on her. And then I leave. The next morning, I text the girl and asked if she's doing okay. I asked her, you broke up with him, right? She said, no, I did not, that he has one more chance. So I asked, why? Are you still with him after all this bullshit and lying that he's done to you? She says, well, I really love him and he knows not to do this again. She then thanks me for keeping it real and proceeds to not talk to me. Then this guy, Chris, texts me and says, I can't believe you did this. You are unbelievable. So my question is, am I the asshole for exposing this guy as a cheater? And there is a small update. The guy wouldn't stop messaging me. He said I was a piece of shit, but at least I'm not the reason my faith in humanity is lost. So I told him to grow up. He was the one who was playing around with girls and that he can't put the blame on someone else. Is he the a-hole?
Not at all. This wasn't one of those scenarios where you're like trying to bait someone who like isn't cheating. This is someone who was already cheating and you are exposing the cheating.
Yeah, this isn't the equivalent of like leaving the keys in the Lamborghini with the door open and the hood, you know, like
not an episode of Cops.
Not an episode of Cops. Like this was the cheating-ish behavior was already happening. And she was just gathering evidence.
That's right. So you don't hate the player, hate the game. Or actually, don't hate the game, hate the player.
Hate that player, imprison him, cut off his balls. But with that, I think that's a wrap on this episode.
That's right. We got to put this one to sleep.
Also, Ashley is still here and she's talking to people.
She's right there.
She's doing well. She seems to be very bubbly.
Okay, we'll see you soon.
See ya.